Ms. Rock,
All
we go
right.
to our Director of Finance. You have some words this evening.
I do have some words this evening. Sorry I don't have the drum roll, but Joe, can you put that up
There'll
on
be
the screen?
fireworks at the end.
Very good.
The fireworks at the end of the report.
Okay, Linda.
All right. This is the Municipality of Monroeville, December 31st, 2017 audit update and our budget update as of June 30th of 2018. And we begin with our auditor, who,
He looks a little rough.
he does, yeah, they all are. Auditors are tough. Okay, the audit process, just real briefly, they began their audit of our, and I'm sorry if you can't see this, it'll be available if anybody wants it. Our auditors began their field work in March of 18 and spent a few weeks in the field as they typically do, and then they left and began working on our CAFR, which is a comprehensive annual financial report. The report is a joint effort by the finance staff and the auditors. The CAFR, when complete, is submitted, which I have already submitted it to the Government Finance Officers Association to receive the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting. The municipality has applied for and received recognition for this for the past 25 years. When our CAFR is complete, it will be, when it is available, it will be on our website, and it will be available after the Finance Committee, Mayor, and Council review the report. It's approximately 140 pages of financial statements, letters, and statistical information. Our financial highlights from the CAFR. I only use, there's so many sections of the CAFR. The one I used was the one that is most closely identified to cash basis reporting, which is what we do in the municipality. Our fund balance as of December 31st was $14.3 million, and the unassigned portion of the fund balance was $13.5 million. What that means is the unassigned portion is that small amount is assigned to various other things, and I don't have I didn't put specifically what it is, but the unassigned portion means we can spend it on whatever we need to spend it on. Also, as of December 31st, the municipality had $16.7 million of gross bonded debt with $17.3 million of net debt outstanding. The reason that is higher is because our bonds were issued at a premium. This represented a decrease of $2.4 million or 12.5% from the previous year. We also have $1.07 million of capital leases payable at the end of December 17. The majority of the $1.07 million is 71% of it relates to fire trucks leases, which mature in 2024. This is a per capita burden to the citizens of $608 of bonded debt. Our general fund balance, which we'll get into a little bit later, increased in 17 by $3.7 million, mostly due to the increase of current and delinquent business privilege and mercantile taxes, and additionally from greater than expected revenue amounts, of our budget. All right, we'll talk about now where the money comes from. Quick analysis of the revenues. The two taller cylinders The tallest is real estate taxes at 8.9 million. Earned income tax is the next tallest at 7.6 million. And the two that are about halfway up is mercantile and business privilege. They're both coming in at almost 4 million, 3.9 million. Our other general fund revenues, the highest column there is shared revenues, local and state revenues, which we, mostly from the state is what we get. The other one is fines and forfeits. A little closer look at the revenues. 835,000 of that other revenues comes from the general municipal pension state aid. That was based upon the Pension Funding and Standard Recovery Act of Act 205 of 1984. It requires municipalities that want to participate to provide information on their employees, firefighters, police officers, and overall all the employees of the municipality. The next item, which is a blue number, is different because we don't get to keep that money. That's your foreign fire insurance tax distribution. That money also is part of the Act 205 of 1984. However, it is solely for firefighters. The money, the state gets the money from a tax, that 2% tax on foreign insurance premiums. It means if they're not, if the insurance company is not within Pennsylvania. And then that is distributed to the participating municipalities. And when we get that 179,823, it varies every year, that immediately has to have a check issued to the volunteer fire companies. The last item I wanted to point out is we have a Marcellus Shale impact fee distribution of 11 million that we do get to keep. Essentially, that was enacted.
I think 11,000.
11,000.
I wish it was
I'm
11
sorry.
million.
I was gonna say,
Thanks,
Whoa.
thank you. 11 million.
that just fixed
You
everything.
hear that, Alyssa?
Everything would have been fixed.
It should be, but it's,
Yeah, I apologize. I'm here rattling away.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay, so we get 11,000 approximately every year. And that is from the Pennsylvania Public Utility Commission. The reason for that is they earmark money to be distributed to the municipalities in Pennsylvania to kind of reimburse them for anticipated use of their roads. As we heard earlier, trucks will possibly be going on our roads. This is money that we get from the state to help offset anything that we would have. All right, then a little bit closer look at the impact of our tax collector audits. Hopefully you'll be able to see that, but I'm going to again read it to you. Back in 2014, our current business tax was 5.7 million, delinquent business tax 265,000. During 15 and 16, we implemented tax audits through our tax department. And the current business tax went from 5.7 to 6.2 million, 6.6 million, and in 17 it's 6.8 million. The delinquent went from 265,000 in 14 to 1 million in 15, another million in 16. 17, it's down a little to a little bit less than 1 million. All right, where does the money go? This is a brief analysis of our expenditures, and what I've broken out is by each department or group of departments. I've given you a per capita and the percentage of the total. So if we want to look a little bit further, I'm going to jump slides here. That's a little bit easier to see. The biggest chunk of that pie is 38% for our police force, and if I can inject an opinion, it's worth every penny. The next biggest area is culture and recreation, and our debt service comes in third at about 12%. So we certainly want to work on that. The smaller we get that, the more we're going to have for everything else. I also pulled some information off the DCED website, which is the Department of Community and Economic Development, where they rank. These numbers are based on the 2016 reporting year. Other municipalities equivalent approximately to our size, I've listed out their revenues per capita, expenditures per capita, and the change. And as you can see, of those 8 or whatever, Monroeville's done pretty well with, spending your money with the allocation that we get. All right. One other thing I want to point out on the expenditures is blended expenditures. Of that $27.4 million, we have included in that, it's blended throughout the departments. We have municipal employee pension contributions of $1.2 million, police pension contributions of $2.1 million, and other post-employment benefits, which is contributions for retiree health care payments, in 17 was 1.2 million almost. Your total pension and OPEB payments are 4.5 million, and that will continue to grow. All right. Capital outlay is another big item. There's one of our trucks fixing some roads. All right, this one's small also, so I'll have to walk through what we have here. In our capital projects funds, they're combined, not just our one fund, but it's the various funds that we have, like our new dispatch equipment. Approximately, we get about $26,000 in interest, and I projected for 18 and 19, 25 and 24,000. In 17, we got a government grant to help take care of some of our capital expenditures of 200,000. We got another grant just this month, actually, for 200,000, so that'll be for 18. But looking forward, we had 225,000, less than 230,000 in 17 and 18, and unless there's any more grants, we'll only have 24,000. Now, if you look at our expenditures, our capital outlays was 1.4 million. In addition to that, we had 333,000 of debt service. That brought our expenditures up to 1.7 million with 228,000 in revenue. So, as it's the policy of the municipality is to put $1 million into our capital spending every year. That we actually did 1.8 million, 1,180,000 with creating a negative change in fund balance of 346,000. So that brought us from 2.3 million, now we're down to 1.9 million. This year in 18, as I said, we have the 225 brought in. We have capital outlays expected of 597, debt service of 261, and in addition, road paving at 1.9 million. That gives us a total of 2.8 million. That's our revenues greater than, expenditures greater than revenues of 2.6 million. We've put $1,113,000 in. That gives us a loss this year coming for 18 of 1.4 million. That takes our fund balance from the 1.9 million down to 475,000. And projecting out to 19, we're looking at the same scenario, not much revenue. Expenditures, we're probably going to have 1.4 because that's consistent with what you've had. And that expected at the end of 19, we should be at a 76,000 fund balance. So that's something to think about. Our capital outlay this year in 17, the tallest cylinder there is road paving. The next to tallest, the very first one, was storm sewer lining of Dahlia Drive, but we did get a grant for that. And the other are just trucks and part payment on our radio communication equipment. Fund balance. What we have left at the end, our savings, so to speak. Our fund balance has continued to grow over the past 5 years. Direct tax rate in 2013 was 2.43. In 2014, there was a 1.57 increase, mill increase, and that brought it up to 4 mills. And that rate has been maintained since 2018. We can somewhat control our operating expenditures, but we can't control capital outlay as much. You know, we don't know when our roads are going to need fixed. We don't know when we're going to need vehicles and so forth. So this next one's a little hard to see, but I'll kind of walk through that. Essentially, back in 2013, you started out with a beginning fund balance of $5,392,000. You lost money that year. Your expenditures were larger than your revenues. That gave you a $1.4 million loss that year. So the next year's loss, 14, wasn't a loss. It was a gain of $2 million. And you continued that through 16, was $2.5 million. This year, again, we had $3.7 million. What that did to your fund balance, it brought it from $3,000,009 to $14 million is what we have now. Our cash position, similar to fund balance. At year end, we had $12 million in spendable cash versus December 31st of 16, we had $10 million. In June, our spendable cash is $17 million, which last year, June 30th of 17, was also $17 million. So we're kind of where we should be. Budget update, debt update. Our budgeted revenues were increased through code enforcement because we increased staff, resulting in increased revenues. We budgeted 235,000, collected 182,000 so far. Again, business tax is still continuing. It's doing better than expected with, so far this year, 6.3 million in current and 695, which is over budget by 325. So they're still doing a good job, but that's really not going to continue. Our budget expenditures. Overall, the municipality, all the departments maintained an average of 50% of their budgets, which is where you should be at this time of year. There were 3 areas that were over budget: tax refunds, insurance, and snow removal. Tax refunds are over budget because we all know and read in the paper that Monroeville Mall was reassessed following a suit by the mall. They were reassessed by the county, and we had to pay them $314,000 that we did not plan on for 18. Insurance is, at this point, is 67.7% of the budget. That's an area we have no control over. Snow removal is 79.4% of their budget at this point, and we should probably be okay with that the rest of the year. Our debt schedule is, if we refunded the 2012 series bonds with the 2017 series. Our current plan is to reduce debt and not incur any more debt. That's just a brief picture of your debt. And actually in 17, we did incur $7.8 million, but we also defeased $7.8 million. So we're actually not doing too bad there. And that's it.
Thank you, Mayor.
Great job,
Any
Josie.
questions?
Any questions for Josie right now?
Everybody's eyes are glazed over. How could there be questions?
No. Question for you, Judge, is that on the delinquents now, we're only half of the year now. I assume there'll be some more, so maybe it'll offset some. We don't know that, but I guess
Right.
I assume they're still working.
Yeah, they are. I think they are. So we could end up getting more for that also.
Yeah, okay. I just wanted to bring that up. That I think Mr. Fulgerson and the staff is doing a great job.
They are doing a good job. Yep.
I just wanted to, that has been in our last year's CAFR too, or audit, I should say, that the tax office has done a good job with bringing in more revenue with respect to that. Now, I mean, and Josie and I have sat and talked about this, and I know I've said this to council on numerous occasions, but this year, keep in mind, our fund balance is very healthy right now, but keep in mind, too, we're going to have millions of dollars flowing out because we have a road program to pay for, we have public communications to pay for, which we've only paid $182,000, as was stated in that one graph right there, and the whole project is $1.12 million. So keep that in mind. You're going to have, but that doesn't mean we still have we have a good, healthy fund balance, but we still have some hurdles to overcome, as I've been talking about for the last 2 years with respect to capital items. Okay.
Any other questions, council? Josie, great job.
Thank you.
Yep.
The community's lucky to have you.
Thank you.
Council, if I just would, while we're talking about